Greetings and welcome. We turn now back into room 303 to Mr. Conrad's volume. We are, the Unstoppable volume. We are at lesson 44 on page 156, the ripple effect. Now, focus really quickly in your journals on this topic. We've already seen this concept once before. Now we revisit it. The idea that all actions, all choices have consequences, right? No matter how insignificant sometimes they appear to be in their inception as well as in their performance, all actions, all choices have consequences. Let's listen to a brief story here that maybe a word picture that can play that game. The ripple effect, one more time. The principal's voice, I'm on, again, page 156. The principal's voice on the intercom shattered my third-hour class. Mr. Conrad, is Aaron Cockwack there? Yes, I responded. Please send him to the office immediately, the intercom blared. All the kids responded with, you're in trouble. Knowing getting pulled from class to go to the office usually isn't a good thing, I asked Aaron what he did. Initially, he said he was going to deny doing anything. However, after he told me what he did and how dangerous it was, I told him to just tell the truth. After all, he told me in front of the whole class. The school's surveillance cameras captured Aaron's leap of faith on film. I told him to just be a man and accept responsibility for his actions. As Aaron got up to leave, I mentioned he was lucky to still be alive and assured him that, compared to what could have happened, the punishment he would receive from the office would be nothing. Aaron's leap of faith involved a dangerous and daring jump. Aaron would fly. His flight began on the third-floor stair and ended on the second-floor commons area, a distance of 15 to 20 feet. Many kids witnessed his aerial heroics. A couple of feet shorter, and Aaron would have tragically crashed to the first floor below. Still, he and many of the kids in his class questioned why he was being punished. I knew I had to bring my pebble to school on Friday. Even though I used this lesson and story in the past, I knew I needed to repeat it to Aaron in his class. That Friday, I asked him and his class if they'd ever thrown one of these into a lake. I was holding a small pebble in my right hand. Obviously, they all had. What happened when you threw it in? I acted like I didn't know. It makes a splash, they said. What can you say about the size of the rock and the size of the splash was my next question. Again, the class responded with, the bigger the rock, the bigger the splash. Correct, I yelled while pointing the pebble at Aaron. You see, Aaron, your leap of faith was a big pebble. It created a huge splash. Aaron and the rest of the class nodded their heads. His leap of faith was the talk of the school for days. Everyone knew about it. In part, that's why you were punished, I said. However, the bigger reason you were punished is because of what happens after the splash. While holding the pebble with my index finger and thumb, I asked the class, what happens next after the splash? Ripples, they chanted. Once again, my young friends, you are correct. Any of you know how far across the lake those ripples go, I asked. I faintly heard Aaron reply, all the way. While lecturing to the class, but mostly for Aaron's benefit, I explained displacement and how those concentric circles or rings go clear across the lake. This happens even though the ripples are sometimes so small you can't detect them. The ripple effect goes on and on. It's the same reason why you can be standing on shore and get hit with the wake from a boat 5 minutes after it's passed by. I gave them more proof, talking about the tsunami that devastated Thailand in 2005. It wasn't the splash that caused the damage. It was the ripple effect. Your actions of today are like the splash. However, the ripple effect can go on and on for many years later. That's the reason you were punished, Mr. Cockwood. Imagine if every kid in the school tried that. Would they all make it? Aaron shook his head. No. Heaven help the next kid who tries. Because you know one will, I whispered. Aaron nodded his head in agreement. He and the rest of his classmates understood the meaning of the Friday story and the ripple effect. Perhaps Aaron's attitude is typical of most teenagers because he drew a huge laugh from his class when he said, I'm still glad I did it. I chuckled back and said, I'm still glad you made it. Only time will tell the results of Aaron's leap of faith and its corresponding ripple effect. I challenged Aaron and his classmates to make big positive splashes. That way the ripple effect can bring good things to you years later. Such was the case with my 15-year-old son Colton when he was faced with one of the toughest decisions of his young life, the job or the money. And then finally, Mr. Conrad finishes with, your actions of today will ripple out for years to come, creating the unstoppable you. Let's pause for a moment and put a few ideas down in our journals really quickly. The first one I think is significant, and it's inferred in this chapter. Realize you are, as seniors at Worland High School, you are being watched. And there are younger people who are going to follow or emulate some of your choices. And this is a huge part of what we mean by the ripple effect. So it obviously makes sense to try and be the most positive model that you can be with your choices. Of course, number two, we can think about examples of positive and negative models in our own life. Think back to the last really stupid thing you did, and you have to admit it was a really stupid thing, kind of like Aaron in his leap here. And then ask this question: in that making that choice, did you have any reference to somebody older than you? This is a fascinating question. I've had many of my seniors that have to admit, almost every time I did something illegal or something stupid, it's probably because I saw somebody older than me do it first. And I just simply modeled their behavior. Of course, the same can also be true for positive behavior. A lot of times, seniors will report that if they did anything really positive in their high school career, it probably was because they did see somebody older than them who had a positive effect or splash as well. Finally, think of the positive stones that have been tossed into your pool of life. Find those people before you graduate and say thank you. Thank you for being a good model for me. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for helping me. Thank you for being there for me when I screwed it up and you gave me one more chance. If you've got those people in your life, I think it makes sense to at least say thank you to them before you graduate. Because of course, you don't graduate, we graduate. You notice this? You didn't get here all alone. Two people had to hook up and exchange fluids even for you to get here. And from that moment on, everything about your life is social. You're never alone. And nothing you've ever done, you accomplished all by yourself. No. So when you graduate, granted, you're the one sitting in the chair after you walked across the track and the mascara runs and the balloons go up. No question. You are the one that gets a diploma. But you don't graduate. We graduate. Everybody. All the people of your life, from the very moment of your conception, all contributed to that moment. So it seems to me to make sense to say to one or two of those people, thank you for being there, for helping me, for getting me through. It seems to me that in the process of saying thank you, you're also informing yourself, reminding yourself that you also are the part of the ripple effect for a lot of other people on this planet as you help the younger get ready for the same hopeful graduation. Well, there you go, lesson 44. Again, a brief word picture, powerful word picture though. Thank you.